In the days that followed, the silence felt heavier than the explosions. Survivors replayed the night in their minds. Why had the formation been so tight? Why were radar contacts not translated into decisive maneuvers sooner? Why were ships firing without full identification? Questions spread faster than official reports. The truth was uncomfortable. The U.S. Navy had entered Guadalcanal confident in its technology, but it had underestimated how much discipline and coordination night combat demanded. The Japanese had not been reckless. They had been prepared. And if they had pressed their advantage just a little longer, if they had ignored the risk of daylight, if they had committed fully to finishing off the American force, the South Pacific might have looked very different. Imagine Henderson Field destroyed. Imagine American supply lines cut. Imagine Guadalcanal falling back into Japanese hands. The campaign could have stretched longer, bloodier, more uncertain. Instead, the near collapse became a turning point. The U.S. Navy began rewriting its night fighting doctrine. Radar was no longer treated as a magic shield, but as one tool among many. Command structures were clarified, training intensified. Ships practiced coordinated night maneuvers relentlessly. Mistakes that cost hundreds of lives would not be repeated the same way again. And that matters. Because months later, in battles like the Philippine Sea and Leyte Gulf, American naval coordination would look very different. More disciplined, more unified, more lethal. Guadalcanal was not a shining victory at sea. It was survival through chaos. It was proof that a navy can stand on the edge of destruction and still adapt. The men who fought that night did not know they were shaping the future of naval warfare. They were just trying to stay alive. But history often turns on moments like that. Moments where collapse seems certain. Moments where one decision, to push forward or to pull back, changes everything. The Japanese withdrew to avoid daylight air attack. The Americans survived long enough to learn. And in war, survival is sometimes the first step toward victory. The night the U.S. Navy nearly collapsed at Guadalcanal was not remembered for triumph. It was remembered for how close disaster came. Victory was not declared in cheers. It was measured in ships still afloat, and in the names of those who never came home.